What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Chip-making giant TSMC has broken ground on its plant in Germany. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz attended a ceremony in Dresden where the fab will be built. TSMC approved a nearly $4 billion investment in the plant in eastern Germany last year. Production at the fab is scheduled to begin in 2027. Questions are being raised over the country's rental subsidy program. The government program is being extended for another 2 years, but critics say it's not actually working. John Van Trieste explains.
As he works to complete his master's degree, Wu Shidao calls this home of less than 13 square meters home. By Taipei standards, his monthly rent of $140 is a bargain. And thanks to a government rental subsidy program expanded last July and now set to continue through 2026, he pays less than $30.
房东也没有觉得怎么样，就租补贴要写，可能契约比较详细嘛，然后他就会愿意帮我们再重新写一些更详细的契约。
But Wu is one of the lucky ones. Housing justice advocates say they see landlords using subsidies as an excuse to raise rents. They're especially concerned about tenants who unknowingly rent on the black market. According to estimates from recent years, about 80% of rental units are unregistered, meaning their landlords don't pay tax on rental income. That means most renters in Taiwan would accidentally out their landlords to the tax office if they ask for subsidies, leaving them open to retaliation.
其实政府现在是都没有办法控管这件事情的，因为租屋黑市的关系，政府也不知道说到底哪个地方因此而涨得特别的多，对，所以就很难制定一个比较完善的住宅政策。
But officials from the Interior Ministry see things differently. The expansion of the subsidy program last year was meant to help up to 500,000 people. That goal has already been broken.
核定我们已经超过60万户，表示什么？民众对这一块其实他是申请是很踊跃的，表示他的确需要政府来给他做帮忙。
But Taiwan's cost of living continues to rise. This year, the consumer price index is expected to go up by over 2%. When average incomes are factored in, Taiwan is one of the world's most expensive housing markets, meaning rental prices continue to be a political issue. Joseph Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Banks in Taiwan say they're cutting back on new mortgages and raising interest rates. This comes after a recent flood of applications. Irene Ling looks at how this affects renters and house buyers.
Home buyers in Taiwan have long had to compete with high prices, but now mortgages are getting more expensive as well. Several banks are raising interest rates on new applications and putting a limit on the number of loans they offer, while the government investigates the situation.
我们现在正在了解到底是什么样的原因造成说所谓市场上有这个限贷，那我们也同时要了解是不是市场上真的有这样限贷的问题。
The monthly mortgage rate in state-owned banks sits at 2.185%. That's the baseline. Now many of them have scaled up the range to 3%. The rising interest rates have deterred many investors, but the demand for mortgages remains high among young buyers. Since 2010, the government has a policy to help younger generations buy their first homes. That policy, officially named Preferential Housing Loans for the Youth, offers new homeowners a loan of over $300,000 and below market interest rates. Now their options for housing may be more limited than ever. As homeowners won't let go of their old houses, young buyers have to turn to new build projects instead of cheaper older houses. And more investors are bidding on pre-sale homes, driving up prices. As landlords are paying more for their new investment, this could also mean higher rents for the tenants.
很多这个投资自产者呢，可能会把增加的利息成本转嫁到租金上。当然，这个最终的后果就是租屋主呢会承受很高昂的租金，他们可能是最受伤最惨烈的一批人。
Some suspect government policy is what's driving up the demand for loans, and consequently interest rates. No matter the cause, renters and young buyers are still scrambling to find a roof to put over their heads. Justin Wu and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Campaigners are pushing for Taiwan to open its doors to more citizens. They say that as the country is trying to attract more overseas talent, it makes sense for foreigners to be allowed to have dual nationality. Louis Watt reports.
What's that? Milk. Yes.
10
tech industry professional Sam Khan and his wife Jane are testing their daughter's Chinese. Surprised at all the words she already knows. They bought this house a year ago and set up home here in Kaohsiung, Taiwan's largest port city. Khan gave up his Pakistani nationality to become Taiwanese, a decision he made for his daughter.
You know, it's a highly developed country with very safe, good education, good quality standard of living, and I wanted my daughter to have access to Taiwan, have the right to live here freely as a Taiwanese.
But to his frustration, 4-year-old Sarah is still not Taiwanese. She was born here to Khan and his Filipino wife before he gained citizenship. And under Taiwanese rules, she has to renounce her Filipino citizenship too, which as a child she can't do.
It's my papa.
Unlike Khan, of the 3,000 to 4,000 foreigners who become citizens here each year, less than 3% don't have to give up their original nationality, deemed by the government to be highly specialized or to have made a significant contribution to Taiwan. Like the late US missionary and English teacher Doris Browham, who was handed a Taiwanese passport by former President Tsai Ing-wen after 72 years in the country. Now a campaign is pressing the government to make it easier for foreigners to become Taiwanese, arguing that more citizens could even help Taiwan as it faces an existential threat from China.
One of the things that, China is putting its mark on Taiwan is to say that, well, you guys are mostly ethnic Chinese, and hopefully with more diversity, with more countries and their people invested in Taiwan on a longer term basis, this will provide some type of even greater hesitation on the part of China to be like, well, we're just going to take it over.
Non-profit group Crossroads says that making foreigners renounce their original nationality is unreasonable and unfair, especially as Taiwanese can have dual nationality. The push to make it easier to gain citizenship comes as Taiwan ages fast. Next year, it's set to become a super-age society, meaning that more than 1/5 of its population will be 65 or over. That means higher healthcare costs, fewer working-age people to pay for them, and potentially slower economic growth. Activists say welcoming more people will help to offset all that. But the Ministry of Interior declined to say whether there were any plans to change or debate the nationality law, telling TaiwanPlus that foreigners must renounce their nationality to avoid active conflicts of nationality between parties in enjoying rights, performing obligations, and national loyalty. Khan, who works for a firm making materials for high-tech devices, remembers his citizenship process as stressful, at times fearing he might become stateless. Despite that, he says he doesn't regret it. And if China does one day attack and many people flee, he will stay behind.
So for me, these are my people, and I would protect my home, I'd protect my city, I'd protect my neighbors, I'd protect my people.
Khan hopes his new country will make it easier for others to follow in his footsteps. People born elsewhere who do not just feel at home here, but want to proudly call themselves Taiwanese. Klein Wong and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
The Michelin Guide has released its 2024 Bid Gourmand selection for Taiwan. 126 restaurants made a list, with 16 of them getting a nod for the first time. The Michelin Guide is one of the world's most prestigious culinary honors, recognizing excellence in food and beverage in cities around the world. The Bid Gourmand selection is the Guide's list of best value eateries. The Guide has been in Taiwan since 2018. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, the London Zoo has been keeping track of their animals' weights. Check out these shots of how they do it. I'm Yvonne. Take care, and I'll see you next time.